It's just so important, doesn't it feel that way?
It does, with the pot and all.
Well, let me explain, by the way, since this is exactly our second night on the air. What is Political Potluck? It's where we bring each of our stories to the party, just like we're bringing a dish of potluck to dinner. You get it? Okay, good. So first, we'll start off with me. And are you addicted to your cell phone? Well, watch this clip of a kid in New Jersey whose teacher took away his cell phone and the way he reacted. Scary stuff.
Okay. Okay, I'm out. I don't want to be in the game. I don't want to be in the game. Come here, help me. Yo, chill. Listen, I got security.
Now, I don't know what's more disturbing there, the fact that the students just allowed a 62-year-old teacher to get beat up in front of them, and they're just kind of milling around like, where'd I leave my notebook? But at the same time, this kid really, it's like attached to his hand, like so many kids. And I did a little research just to back up my argument, and Baylor did one that's fascinating. And they say that college students at Baylor that were surveyed, about 800 of them, admit, women, 10 hours a day on their cell phone by average. And when I think about it, Jenny, right? And if you're just walking along the street or you're I mean, how often are you on your cell phone?
I run into stuff all the time. I try to go down the stairs of my apartment building reading emails and responding because, you know, why not?
Why not?
I
Because
have
it's
a free
there.
moment. My brain is not engaged, and my brain screams when it's not engaged with something now.
Rick, you were on this planet before phones even were invented. What was life like when we didn't have a screen to look at all the time?
Whoa, see? Don't mess with me. What was your question again, please?
When before cell phones, and this is where I'm talking 2007. I remember I got my BlackBerry. What did I do with my time?
Strangely, I can still remember that time. All kidding aside, I remember getting my wife her first phone. It was a brick. It was this big, right?
The Gecko phone.
But yet I am right. I am probably as addicted as everybody else. Now I hope that kid got sent to the principal. That was a bit of an overreaction.
I think he was suspended
out of
actually, or
line.
maybe even been arrested.
Jeez.
We'll have to look into that. Lisa.
I am addicted as well as much as anybody else, but I also don't understand really how schools can effectively do their job while allowing kids to have their cell phones. Now, my daughter is in a private school. They're not allowed to have their cell phones. The cell phones are put in the lockers, and there are repercussions if you're caught with your cell phone. Because I don't know how teachers can effectively teach while kids are going on their phones.
And in New York City, there are trucks outside of schools where students can put their cell phones for the day, and then they pick them up at the end of the day. But then a lot of parents are concerned, you know, what if something happens at the school?
That's why you want
Then
your kid to
before they
have
would
one.
call the school and the teacher would find the student, like in Ferris Bueller when they told Sloan that her grandmother died. We got to get to Jennifer's
But people
potluck.
are so worried these days about something terrible happening in school
But our
that they
brains
want
have
their
changed.
kid to be able to call out.
I don't buy it. Jennifer, what did you bring to the party?
Okay, so there's a woman who lives on a farm in Oregon. Her name's Veronica Partridge. She says, like the bird or the family. And she had an epiphany that wearing tight pants, yoga pants or leggings, dishonors God and her husband and causes men to secretly look and lust. They have legging lust. So she has
While they're doing
personally
yoga?
decided, no, just out on the street.
out on
This
the
isn't
street.
in public. This is, to me, like saying that the Seahawks and the Patriots are dishonoring God and tempting all the women in the stadium when they wear their tight little football pants.
Tom Brady is, though.
And they should probably decide, you know, religiously to stop wearing them. But, you know, look, she does make one good point in her blog, and that is that she wants to teach her daughter that her body and how she looks is not her value. Applause.
Agreed.
I love that. The problem here becomes that women are guilted and blamed for the male gaze. I mean, this is an age-old issue, right? We have bigger problems off the farm. We have an epidemic of campus assault, and administrators are not doing anything about it. We just had 2 Vandy football players who raped and then urinated on a young woman who was passed out. 2 of them have gotten convicted. The others have
They
not
were
yet.
convicted, okay. I want to make sure
They
this isn't a
were
Rolling
convicted.
Stone kind of
Yoga
situation.
pants are not the problem. The problem is seeing women as human beings. And I don't know that as a society we're completely there yet. So let's get away from yoga pants.
What's her name, Virginia?
Veronica.
Veronica.
Veronica,
You're
wearing yoga
is
pants
there
right
a
now. How do you
camera I
feel
can
about
look
this?
into?
Rick is-
Veronica, if I were you, I would worry about the real problem. Having to ever see me in yoga pants
That would be
walking
a
on the
travesty.
street. That's the problem.
And we'll
that would
end it
offend
on
God and everybody else.
that unsettling image we will end it on. So coming up next, Rick Unger, sans yoga pants, and Lisa Janovitz will continue this dinner party we call Potluck. This is the Daily Wrap, only on Newsmax TV. And by the way, this is our second night in the air. And if you're watching for the second night, we thank you for coming back. We're certainly having some fun here. And tomorrow night, just to give you a quick preview, Patriots, Seahawks, prop bets, all the fun that goes into that. Stay tuned. We'll be back. Welcome back to the final segment of the Daily Wrap. We're almost done already at that point.
Time flies when you're having fun.
Absolutely. Let's continue with our potluck stories. Rick Unger, what the hell's bothering you today?
Man, two candidates for the nomination to be President of the United States from the Republican Party, Dr. Ben Carson and Governor Mike Huckabee, don't seem to understand the Constitution. Huckabee comes out last week and says that if the governors of the states don't like what the Supreme Court has to say on same-sex marriage, they should just ignore it. He actually said that because, you know, nowhere in the Constitution is the Supreme Court given the right to have the final word on issues like that. If that wasn't enough, along comes Ben Carson, and what does he say? He says that if federal judges don't vote the right way on same-sex marriage again, in other words, if they strike down state laws that ban it, that they should be fired by Congress under the impeachment power. Two guys who want to be president of the United States who do not understand the first thing about how this country was formed, three independent, separate branches of the government, and an independent judiciary. You're a Republican, dude. Aren't you embarrassed?
Well, Ben Carson's a doctor. He's not a legal
Well,
scholar.
he wants to be president of the United States. He wants
Hasn't
to
declared
lead.
yet.
Yeah, he wants to be president of the United States.
So many words.
Okay,
Yeah.
It's shameful. He doesn't have to be a constitutional scholar, but you know what? You're not either, and I know that you understand the Constitution better than that.
I think as a doctor, he should know that this is what happens when religious zeal overtakes the brain, right?
Yeah, I mean,
He's a neurosurgeon.
It's shocking. It's absolutely shocking that these guys would say such things.
I'm surprised that Huckabee actually got off the whole Beyonce kick.
Yeah, well,
Well, you know, he did say that
both things are in his book.
women in New York are filthy, trashy.
No, women at Fox in New York, he said, we're filthy and
right.
trashy.
No. Politico misquoted him. They threw in the Fox part. He's saying that professional women in New York.
Yeah, but there's
Right.
so much
Things
fun
Right, and
with the
Politico
Fox
took
part.
that out. That was
Because
journalism
men can throw the
malfeasance.
F-bomb, but
because
women.
you cuss. You swear at work.
Right.
I haven't heard you swear tonight.
Well,
You-
Women in
you-
I was
Yeah.
off camera, off camera.
I got news for you, and we're going to move on in 1 second. But it does, and I apply this to both genders. People swear too much in this society today, right? And I'm a pretty laid back guy, and I'm fun, and I do the happy hours and all that fun stuff. But there's way too many f-bombs.
Well, we'll take you back to the 1950s. You'll be much more comfortable.
You agree with people swearing? I think
don't
your
care if people
vocabulary,
swear.
Rick. I think your vocabulary is lacking when you just have to insert F
I-
and S
I-
into every other
I
word.
disagree.
Sorry,
there's a
Rick.
time and a
That
place.
is a pet peeve.
I
of
have
mine.
an excellent vocabulary, and I love to swear.
as a Christian minister, I believe that it brings color to conversations.
You believe that?
However, freedom of expression.
But I
However,
wouldn't want my
there's
my
a place
kids
and
speaking
time.
like
Well,
that.
your kids are
There's
kids.
a place and time. However, people should not be shamed for the way they express
I
themselves.
think class is very underrated these days, and not enough people.
I agree with you, Joe.
Thank you, Lisa. I appreciate that. All right.
I want to come back.
curse afterwards.
What are you serving up? Last but not
There's
least.
a movie coming out. What is it? Hot Tub Time Machine?
Part
We'll-
2.
We'll arrange for you guys to get in it so you can go back a little bit in time.
Measles outbreak is started in Disneyland in California and has spread throughout California and beyond, 79 cases. This is a disease that was eradicated in 2000. However, this is reigniting the whole movement of to vaccinate children or not, and the risks of vaccination, with which some parents feel are linked to autism, which it has not been proven by the scientific community. There's parents in California who are saying that schools should ban students who are not vaccinated, and they have a legitimate point. Their 6-year-old son has been fighting leukemia. he cannot be vaccinated.
Because of the chemotherapy.
Right. And if this little boy comes down with measles, it could be deadly. So where do we take, what is good for the well-being of society, of others, of health, and parents making an informed decision? This is something that I agree with, that schools should not allow, that this is something that they should be vaccinated. It's been proven.
I didn't know that measles had been eradicated, although apparently it wasn't.
It was eradicated in
still here.
2000.
Been diminished. Yeah.
But I think through immigration and people coming in that are not vaccinated.
Look, this is just another clash of freedoms, though. One of the things that the administrators at that school said is that they do have policies in place to take people who are medically frail and put them in classes with all vaccinated children.
We take peanuts out of the classroom.
But
you're not
they're
allowed to bring
also-
that in because of kids having peanut
They're
allergies.
also going to be in communities and churches and synagogues and public libraries and sports arenas with unvaccinated people as well. So I think what I agree with you on so many levels, and I think that what we have to do is really hone in on the policies of how to handle those conditions so that people have the freedom to do what they want.
And that's a perfect way to end this segment on measles. Thank you. We appreciate that. Anyway, everybody, we thank you for coming here again the second night of the Daily Wrap, and we'll see you back here tomorrow, 6 p.m. in the East, 3 p.m. Pacific. I believe that would make it then 1 p.m. in Hawaii. So same place for the Daily Wrap. Good night, everybody. Thanks to our panel, Jenny, Rick, Lisa. Good night, everybody from New York.